I was unaware that we were playing chess. I don't even know how to play chess. It's doing a number on me. The title of this video pretty much gives away what we are going to be doing today, which is avoiding all of my responsibilities, sitting down and reading for 24 hours. Now, I do like sleeping, so we're going to break this up into two 12-hour sessions between today, which is Saturday, and tomorrow. And I have a stack of books that I am hoping to read a few of them, maybe like 2 or 3. It probably won't be that many. If we get more than that read, that will be awesome, but this is not a video so I can show off how many books I can read in 24 hours. That is not what this is about, okay? I have been doing something or needing to complete a task every single weekend for the past 3 months, and this weekend is just for me to enjoy books, to just sit down, spend some time at home, find some new characters to fall in love with, and just relax. I do want to tell you a little bit about the books that I'm hoping to read. I picked up Kiss Me, Mi Amor. This is book 2 in the series, but it is a standalone series, so you don't have to read them in order. But I read book 1, which is Love and Tacos, and that was a Romeo and Juliet retelling, but with both of the characters being Mexican, and they're trying to fight against gentrification in a Mexican community in California. I adored every single moment that I spent reading that story. It was phenomenal. I don't know what kind of retelling this is going to be, or if it's going to be a retelling at all. I'm guessing that this is Enrique Montes. Yeah, so this is one of the brothers that we met in book 1, because there's 3 brothers, so I'm thinking there's going to be 3 books in this series. We have The Teacher by Frida McFadden. I haven't read a Frida McFadden in a while. I read Never Lie, and I really liked that one. The Housemaid, I liked the first Housemaid. I have not read any of the other ones. I do own the second book, but I have like zero motivation to pick that up. What could you do with the rest of that? Like, if you use the same formula again and do the same thing in book 2, is it really going to be as shocking as book 1? Probably not. The title of this book is pretty much self-explanatory. You have Eve, who is a high school teacher, and everything was going good for her. She had a routine down, but there was a scandal the year previously with a girl in the high school that she teaches at, and she finds herself having this student in her class. So she's trying to keep an eye on her and hoping that another scandal doesn't arise and involve her in it somehow. That's what I understood from the back of this. I also picked up a photo finish. I got to page 22 in this book. You see this is how I bookmark books when it's going to be longer than a few weeks before I read it, because I like to use my bookmarks for other books, but that's freaking hilarious. Now I remember why I wanted to read this. So this is Violet Eaton's book, which is the sister of Rat Eaton from Flawless, which is from the Chestnut Spring series, and I love the Chestnut Spring series. I wasn't a huge fan of book 1 though, and I think that also played a huge part into why I haven't picked this up in a while, so maybe we'll get to it and it might surprise me. Now, Spells for Forgetting is one that I have been wanting to read for a while, because the main character lost her best friend and her boyfriend within the same 24 hours because the townspeople believe that her boyfriend killed her best friend, and then her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend at the time, comes back to their town and a bunch of other weird magical things begin to happen. And I want to know, did he really kill her, or is he being framed? I also added to the stack The Christmas Tree Farm. So I loved the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, however, is not one that I am jamming with, because I am 64% into the audiobook, because I was doing that one as an audiobook, and it's just so bad. I'm sorry if you can hear the machinery in the background. My fiance's outside doing God knows what. With book 2 in the series, I felt really disconnected from the actual storyline, and it's not that I don't like the characters, they just feel very bland to me. Like, nothing about them is really standing out, and I don't care to finish that story, so I am going to just DNF it at 64%. And I'm going to start this one instead, because the main character for this book popped up in book 2, and I was immediately like, I need her story. I need to know more about that character. So that is why I immediately added this one to the stack. The Dead Romantics. I just read a novel love story by the same author, and that was not a good book. I love the 7-Year Slip, so I'm hoping that she can redeem herself with this book. I think this book follows 2 writers. No, so one of them is a writer, the other one is an editor, and they end up running into each other because one goes home to bury her dead father, and then it seems like it's a second chance romance as well. Romance is dead, but this isn't what she had in mind. One of my most highly anticipated reads of the year is Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. And what I know of this book is that it's pretty much like that movie A Christmas Carol, where the ghosts from past, present, and future go hunt the man who is not cheery at all and like tries to get him to, I forgot, what is the whole idea of that movie? Like, I remember bits and pieces, but like I don't remember most of it. You're probably looking at me like, girl, how do you not know what the movie is about? It's been a while since I watched that, but I know that that is the inspiration for this book, so that's why I wanted to read it. Then I added Falling Like Leaves. So this book is a second chance romance in a small town, and I believe it follows high school students because one of the characters relocates from Manhattan to Connecticut with her mother because her parents separated, and while she's there she is trying to like not get too involved in the community, but somehow she ends up finding somebody that she dated before or something like that. I may not be explaining this the best, but that's what I have heard and know so far. And then Direbound. I know absolutely nothing about this except for the fact that there are werewolves, so I will be going into this blind, and this is my book club pick for the month of October, so I probably will prioritize this one. This one is the thickest one that I have on here, but I just really want to experience the story, plus I have to read it because book club meets in 2 weeks. That's all I have, and that was a lot of talking. It is 1:31, so let me start my timer and we'll get to reading. 19 hours and 48 minutes left, and I just finished reading Good Stories. I really enjoyed this. That was a fun twist at the end. That is how you do a retelling or take inspiration from a well-known movie or story and make it your own. And that's exactly what B.K. Borison did. I was not sure how the romance part was going to go, and I honestly forgot this was supposed to be a romance story until they started having feelings for each other, and then I was like, oh yeah, right, this is a romance book that I'm reading, because I was so into the actual story of him being a ghost and her being a human, and I was like, how are you two going to be together? Like, you don't even live in the same world. He lives in the spirit realm and you live in the world, and somehow it worked out. It was a Christmas miracle. I'm gonna give this book a 4-star rating, I think. It wasn't quite a 5, but I did like it, so that's not too bad. Just to keep the mood of magic going, we're gonna go for Spells for Forgetting. I can't do another Christmas book right away, so I am going to save the Christmas Tree Farm for a little later. Maybe we'll do that one tomorrow. But I've been telling myself for a long time that I'm going to read this book, and I never do. I may need a cup of coffee, to be honest with you, because I was so close to falling asleep. It's 6 in the evening, but I live in Michigan, so it looks like it's 10 at night. It's so dark outside. It's crazy. I hate daylight savings time because we lost an hour. So we're gonna go make a cup of coffee, maybe bake some cookies. Yes, caffeine and sugar. Yes, that's exactly what I need right now. And we're gonna start Spells for Forgetting. I just hit the 18 hours mark, and I'm on page 118, chapter 19 of Spells for Forgetting, and I have theories and thoughts, and if I am correct, I am going to be so angry right now on behalf of Emery and August. Let me break down these theories. These are not spoilers because I'm not even that deep into the book. We're still getting the lay of the land, understanding what the conflict is, why people in the town didn't want August to come back. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning. Emery and August used to be high school sweethearts. They were in love with one another. And then Emery had a best friend. There was an accident one night where there was a giant fire that happened on the island that they lived in, and her best friend ended up dying. And for whatever reason, everybody thought that August killed her best friend. So then a few days after, August and his mom just disappear from the island. No one hears from them. Emery is trying to look for August everywhere that she can. She can't find him. And then years later, after his mom dies, she asks him him to go back to their hometown and bury her in their family cemetery, forcing him to go back into the town that pretty much forced him to leave, because they were all saying that he killed someone when he didn't, because they didn't actually have any evidence and he wasn't actually convicted of the crime, but they just separated him and Emery. And this is one of the theories that I have, because the town is full of magic and the townspeople know that there is actual magic there, and the only people with magic are the women. So there was a prophecy that Emery was going to be very special. We don't know why, but she was going to be very special. However, after the accident and everything that happened, she ended up just staying in the town and not doing anything with her life. And she's just been in limbo ever since, because one, she can't find August, and two, the magic in the town has been acting strange ever since that accident happened. Now, this is my theory. I don't think August did it at all. From the very beginning, I could have told you that he didn't do it. But I do believe someone else did it, or a group of people somehow did something to Lily, which was Emery's best friend. And then they decided to say that it was August to get August away from Emery. Because you do get multiple perspectives in this book, and for whatever reason, every single time the adults are talking, they're all like hush hush, whisper whisper, and when we actually do get some context of what they're saying in their conversations, it looks like they're all scared that August is back in the town and that he is going to somehow prove that he didn't commit the crime. And I'm like, okay, so you guys do know who committed this crime, but for whatever reason, you just wanted him out of the island, so Emery didn't leave the island. I really do think they framed him. And the worst part is, people really close to Emery and August are in this group of people that I think framed him. And it's like, why would you frame a child for a murder of another child and keep the actual criminal free? I don't know. It's doing a number on me and I need answers. So I'm gonna keep reading. I'm gonna keep drinking my coffee. See, this is what happens when I drink coffee at 9 p.m. pretty much. It's like 8:43. This is what happens when I have coffee late at night and I'm listening to a really good book. My theories just start going off. So I'll see you in a bit. I just paused the timer. I have 15 hours left and I finished Spells for Forgetting. I was right with some of my theories that I had, but the actual truth was way more sinister than I could have imagined. Small towns scare me, at least fictional small towns, because you never really know what the people of that town are doing or planning. And I never want to find myself in this small town. They will do anything that they can for their own benefit, like the people of the town, no matter who it could hurt. And the actual truth about the best friend was messed up. There are some things that I want to say, but I feel like it would give away what actually happened with the best friend, and I don't want to do that because I do think this is a book that is good. I would definitely recommend this to people to read, especially if they want like a suspenseful book with magic involved. This is great for that. However, the ending was kind of open-ended. It was, but it wasn't. Like, you did have a happily ever after. They did get the answers that they were looking for, at least Emery did, but it was not the ending that I was expecting. So I'm gonna give it a 4. Not a bad read. It was pretty good. It had me literally bouncing off the walls, although I also think that might have been the coffee that I had. It is currently 11:49, so I am pausing the timer when I sit and do my reviews, but besides that, it's just running. So that's why it's currently 11:49 and we still have 15 hours left. So I am trying to read until we have 12 hours left. So it's 3 more hours of reading, and then I will go to bed and then get up tomorrow and read for another 12 hours. So I think I'm going to do Kiss Me, Mi Amor. The first book that I read, Love and Tacos, that did not take me very long to read. So this is only 285 pages. So it's way more lighthearted than the last book that I just read. So that's why I wanted to break it up, because that was kind of gruesome. It was kind of dark in a psychological messed up way. So I'm gonna jump into Kiss Me, Mi Amor, and when I get halfway through, I will come back and do a quick update. I just paused my timer. We have 2 hours and 26 minutes left. I feel like that's pretty close to 12 hours. So I am going to just give you a little recap of this book and then try to go to bed. I don't know how that's gonna work out because of the coffee. If I just like roll in bed for a few hours, then I'm just gonna get up and we're just gonna keep going with reading. So that is my plan. But I am 60% into Kiss Me, Mi Amor. I'm on page 176, which is chapter 19. And I will say one thing that I love about this author is that she is always educating the reader about Mexican culture, and I wouldn't say like rules, but like things that Mexicans deal with. But some of the things that she also talks about doesn't just apply to the Mexican culture, like it also applies to other cultures. For example, the topic that she is talking about in this book, I can directly relate to that, and I'm Dominican, so I am not a part of that culture, but I think it's very common in Hispanic cultures to be a 23-year-old that has a very strict parent and still expects for a man to court their daughter, even though it's the 21st century. Like, as someone that grew up with a very protective father, like that was a thing. I was not allowed to date, and then when I was allowed to date, like they had to do everything right and like answer a lot of questions and get the third degree, not just from my dad, but also from all of my siblings, all my aunts and uncles and cousins. Like, dating in the Hispanic culture is a huge deal because you don't date for just dating. Like, you date to get married, and even as soon as you like move in with somebody, you are married in the eyes of elders in the Hispanic culture. Like, when I moved in with my fiance back then, we were just dating. We had known each other for about 4 years, so like it's not like we just started dating and then we just moved in. But when I would bring him around my family, they would introduce him to my other family members as my husband. Like, they'd be like, oh yeah, this is Helen's husband. Like, you guys, we're not even married yet, but like they've been calling him my husband for years now, just because like we live together, we own a house together. There are a few things that I could relate to when it came to Carolina. She is a successful Latina farm owner, and she made a post online right after she graduated college. It was more of like her sister kind of being proud of her and for everything that she had accomplished. So she made a post, and then that made a lot of other companies within the food industry wanting to reach out to her to know about her agriculture methods, how she treats her Latin workers that she has at the farm, who are very happy to be working there. And like most Latin people that work in farms get the short end of the stick because that is very hard labor, and most of them don't get paid enough. Also, when they're there, you know, they don't get treated as well as they should. So she is just at the top of the food chain when it comes to being a Latina farm owner. And so Enrique, who is one of the three brothers that owns a food chain restaurant called Love and Tacos, wants to know how he can help their farms that produce food for their restaurants. And so he came in wanting to just talk to her about the farm, learn some things from her, and something happened that led him to be fake dating her because her dad went to the hospital, and then when he took her there because she needed a ride, then her dad was like, oh my god, you have a boyfriend? And then she lied and was like, yeah, because her dad has like this heart condition. And then afterwards she told Enrique like, okay, you know, you don't have to keep going with my lie. Like, my dad is very old school, so he thinks just because I can't cook and I don't really care about getting married and having kids that I'm just going to be single forever. Mind you, she's 23 years old. Like, that is very young to be thinking about that. Like, she is a successful businesswoman. She has a lot going for her. But unfortunately, that is something that happens in the Hispanic culture. Like, there are some people that they just want the woman to worry about the household and nothing else. And it's like, well, no, women can do both. You know, they can have a successful marriage and have kids and still have a career that they're very happy and proud of. Some women don't want kids and marriage, and that is completely fine. And that is the whole message of this book. I love Enrique because he is supporting her and he is going along with the lie just because he is actually taken back by how her dad is treating her. Should I just finish this? Because the more that I sit here and I talk to you about it, the more that I just want to finish it. I really love Carolina. I love this book. I think this might be my favorite one from the series. I think it's just because I can personally relate to what she's going through. I can just make another cup. 4:30 a.m. and we have 11 hours and 21 minutes left on the timer. I don't know if you saw that before. It died. And I just finished Kiss Me, Mi Amor. This is going to be a 5-star. Without questions. I love the way that the story wrapped up. And not only did the main character find her self-worth, but she did not give up any of her aspirations in life in order to be with the main character. He kind of had to like modify his expectations to be with her. So this is really giving women empowerment to just not settle for less. And don't ever let anybody tell you what to do when it's your life and you know that the decisions that you're making are the right decisions. I think this is my favorite from the series so far. I don't know if there is going to be a third book. Let's look it up, shall we? Oh my god, it comes out this month. I am obsessed. Oh wait, I have to update this actually. My bad. Is this the youngest one? When school sweethearts reunite? Oh, that's gonna be good. That is going to be a great story. November 25th. And today is the 9th. I didn't even expect to binge read that series like that, but I literally read book 1 like a week ago and I have zero regrets. So now I am going to start Metal Slinger. I'm going to commit. Good morning. I'm sorry for the jump scare. I have a face mask on. I made it till 6 a.m. before I had to go get some beauty sleep. We have 10 hours left on the timer. I did get pretty far into Metal Slinger, and I will say I'm eating this up. I don't know why I waited so long to read it because I have so many questions. I made it 19% into Metal Slinger. I'm on chapter 10. Yeah, I may just do the update now so I don't give away any spoilers, but so far we've met Bryn, and Bryn is our main character. She lives in the middle of the ocean in a city that is like a floating city in the ocean, and they call them like the rig, and for whatever reason I just picture like, you know, those oil rigs in the middle of the ocean, they're like digging up oil. That's what I'm picturing in my head, like they live on something like that, and then it has different levels to it because she said something was happening and she had to go from her apartment to the North Tower. That would have been an hour of her running, so it's massive. Like, this is a massive foundation. And then she was like, well, I can cut that time in half if I jump, but she's like, but I have to try to land this, otherwise I'm going to fall into the ocean. So I'm guessing there's one giant foundation, and then on top of that foundation, like, there's different levels to it, and that's how they have like apartments and training grounds and schools and all this other stuff. And she is training to be a guard for their city, but then they go to this other city, which is an inland city. It's one of the inland cities that shunned their town to live in the middle of the ocean, and when they're there, they're not supposed to like cause any problems, otherwise it's going to cause a war. And Bryn gets separated from the rest of the group, and she gets followed by this random man that tries to say that she stole a gem from a merchant, and it was a lie. Like, he planted that gem on her to cause problems, and then the guy was like trying to cut her hand off, and this all happens within like the first 5 minutes, so it's not a huge spoiler. It's not going to ruin the story for you to know this. Like, you will find this out as soon as you start the book. But he tries to cut off her hand, and of course her people are not going to let him do that, and then this causes one big problem. So then they have to go back to their island and try to like not go into a war, but like they actually just invalidated their peace treaty that they had with the inland. So now I just want to know, why were they shunned to the middle of the ocean? On top of that, Bryn doesn't look like any of her people. I have questions as to where she came from. She also doesn't have any parents, so right now it's giving secret identity, probably the child of a king or a queen that got kidnapped. I don't know anything about magical powers yet. That hasn't come into play, but I have suspicions about it. And then of course there will be a war, but I'm having a hard time picturing the city on top of the ocean, not gonna lie to you. Like, I just know the oil rigs, like that's all I know as of right now. And for whatever reason, I keep thinking their city's yellow because the oil rigs are yellow. But besides that, I am like in the world building, and like I can picture everything else vividly. So I think this may be our last book. This will probably take me the majority of the day to read just because it's a thicker book. Yeah, this is about 500 pages. Every other book that we've read has been like 300 pages or less. So this one's definitely going to take me the majority of the day to read. I was standing here for 30 minutes talking and giving you my review on Metal Slinger, and my mic wasn't on. So I have all that footage with no audio. I'm hoping that it has audio. If it does, I will use it. The audio might not be the best, but it's better than nothing. But I just said that I really did not know what unreliable narrator meant until I read Metal Slinger, and I was bamboozled. I was uppercutted, slapped across the face. I really was trusting Bryn with my life. Like, I really thought we were both on the same level. I knew what was up. I knew how she really felt. I knew what were some lies and what were the truth. And at the end, I knew absolutely nothing. And I know in a lot of people's reviews, one of the things that they've said is like, the ending is one of the most shocking endings ever. So I'm expecting somebody to just kick the bucket. It's way worse than that. I truly just want to know how Rachel came up with the story, because this book just reminded me why I love reading so much. You're telling me this story came out of a human's head. She just woke up one day and she was like, you know what would be a good story? And then puts pen to paper. I haven't read a book that messed me up psychologically in a long time. Mostly thrillers do that to me. It's wild when a fantasy can do that to me, because I was not expecting for her to be out here playing chess while I was playing checkers. And I should have known in multiple parts. I was oblivious to everything. I was having a good time. I had like 20, 50 theories going at a time. I thought I really knew what was happening, and no, I didn't at all. Unreliable narrator. That's really all I got. And I did this deliberation in my footage that has no audio, but I was stuck between the teacher and the only one left to read next because I didn't want to do another fantasy. So I think we're gonna just do another book that may just mess me up mentally. Why not? You know, I need something to play with my psyche, because Metal Slinger definitely did that, and I was unaware that we were playing chess. I don't even know how to play chess, as Rachel showed me. Let me go back to playing checkers. We'll see if this is chess or checkers. I am on page 202 of The Only One Left, so just shy of her 50%. And if I look exhausted, it's because I woke up from a nap 30 minutes ago. I fell asleep while trying to read this. This is very boring. Like, I am intrigued in the actual thrill of the story and knowing what the real story is behind Leonard. What's her name? Leonard? Oh my god, Lenora. I keep trying to call her Leonard, which is like the man version of Lenora in my head. It's not. It probably isn't, but tired brain. I'm fighting to finish this book right now. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be. I was wrong with my initial assumption that Kit and Lenora were both murderers. So Kit is a caregiver, and she accidentally killed her mom because she did not look up her medicine, and then her mom overdosed and she woke up the next day and found her dead. That's her story, right? And then Lenora is the one with the complicated past where they believe she killed her entire family and she was the only one to survive, and now she lives in her family home. Lenora has been using a typewriter to tell Kit the story because most of her body is paralyzed except for her left hand, so she uses that to communicate. But there are things that keep happening in the house, and I don't actually think Lenora is paralyzed, because she keeps trying to tell Kit that the house is haunted and it's her dead sister that is haunting the house, and I honestly think it's just Lenora being sinister and messing with her. There's something else that happened with the previous caretaker that was taking care of Lenora, and there are patterns that you can follow that I don't think Lenora is actually as innocent as the book is trying to make you believe that she is. She is 70 years old, so you would think, is she really a 70-year-old serial killer? I don't know. Possibly. I would not be shocked. I have very confusing thoughts about this book. The only thing that I know for sure is that I'm bored, and I'm gonna try to finish this within the next 2 hours that I have left. I mean, I feel like it's possible because I don't have that many pages left. I'm really hoping I can finish this before the end of the night, because if not, I'm gonna do it after this. Finally, I am all done with this challenge. I did it. Somehow, I finished the most boring book ever. Well, I've read worse. I will say, the plot twist at the end, I was glad for them. It was like one plot twist after another when you finally got the answers of what happened. But we got the answers from like 5 different people, and I was like, you're doing too much. You couldn't just tell me that through one person. You had to make this so complicated, and it didn't make up for how boring this was. I had to fight myself against falling asleep, and it's not because I was tired. Like, I did take a nap, but I think it's also the fact that if the book is not entertaining enough for me, I will fall asleep. Whereas with the other book I was reading, I was up till 6 a.m. finishing it because it was so good, and this one was not as good. There were so many little details in this story that we didn't need. There were so many irrelevant characters, and they were literally just put there by the author to try to confuse you into thinking that you were on the right path when it was very plain and obvious that it was not the right path to be on. So yeah, I was not impressed by this book at all, but I'm glad I read it. One less book off of my TBR, so that's a win in my book, and that is a wrap. I hope this video was just as entertaining for you as it was for me. I've had a lot of fun, and I thought this was really productive, and I just want to thank you for your love and support, and I will catch you in the next video.